Going live, going live. I am live. Yay. Let's get ready to play some ukulele. You pick up the sheet music and all that stuff at jollyrogerukulele.com. That site's been growing like bananas over the last 6 months. And I got to post the link real quick over there. Space, Control V. Just magically rolls down for no reason. Highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, and where's the update button? There it is. Okay, so that should get our link posted. Everybody will come roaring in here shortly, and we'll play some ukulele. Today we are playing Better Bar Worksheet. We are playing, what else are we playing? Daisy Bell, Aloha Oi, Scarborough Fair, and one of the arpeggios. So it's the final day of intro class, kind of a tough day of music. And Daisy Bell, Key of the F arpeggio, Aloha Oi, and Scarborough Fair, along with, as always, the Make a Better Bar worksheet. So we're going to, thanks Valerie, she's telling me that the sound is good. The other thing I'm going to try to do, it's telling me my connection is unstable. It's a heck of a way to start. So hopefully it will resolve itself here momentarily. We have blindingly fast internet here in my house as well as over at the studio. And so I'm having a little suspicion that when we run into internet challenges, it's not related to me, it's related to the network. So hopefully we'll be able to hold in today. And as you guys are logging in, let me know if the sound is okay. Donna, my wife, who is one of the most, she's wonderful. Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
They're saying my rear brakes, the pads are at 4mm. It'll be $335 to do those.
Yeah, we better do those. We're getting new brakes. They're only $8,975. No, they're not that much, but they're crazy expensive. So we have to, they just sent her the note. Getting new rear brakes. It's very exciting. This is another reason why we should get rid of our cars. It makes me so mad that we have no ability whatsoever to say no to something like that. You're just like, yeah, I guess I better do it. And so, yeah, cars. Back when I was a kid, you could work on your own car. It was probably a bad idea, but you could. And now, of course, these days, you would be crazy to work on your own car because they're so complex. I'm putting a little blocker up in front of my face so I don't stare at my face, and hopefully I'm staring at the camera a little bit more. It's definitely a problem. I have this tendency to just look at myself, which means I'm not giving you the best broadcast quality that I could. And so my goal is to put this little blocker up in front of my face and look into the camera more. So hopefully we will have a more professional experience. Let's see. Donna's in today. His graduation day. Very exciting. Evelyn is here. She's in from Ecuador. Very exciting. Bridget is in here. Brigitta. We've decided. Brigitte is in from Florida. Q is in from California. Sound is good. Everybody's here. Very exciting. And guys, next week, we start up again. So to let people know that they can get a free ukulele education here and play the hard way, right? Not the easy way. Anybody can play the easy way. Plenty of YouTube stuff on that. Playing the hard way is much harder to find decent materials and decent work. So let's make sure Gary's tuned up first, and then double check your tuning as well. We are going to have a lovely day of music today. All pretty kind of challenging stuff. Okay, I can live with that. All right, first thing, you make a better bar worksheet. Let's pull that up. Let's make sure we know what it is and why we do it. HIJKL. Getting too much music in here. It takes me forever to find what I'm looking for. Make a better bar ukulele. Open. All right. I know how it goes, but I still like to look at it. So the reason we do this every Friday, and you should be doing it every time you play, is we want to get your bar to be clean. We also want to build this muscle pattern here so that we have enough strength to do this without feeling like we're twisting our arm off doing it. You're going to be working on whether sometimes your bar is best in the middle of the fret. Sometimes it's best a little bit further back. Sometimes it's best if it's forward. Sometimes it's best if you roll it forward a little bit. Sometimes it's best if you roll it backward just a little bit. Sometimes it's best if you push it up a little higher. Sometimes it's best if you pull it down a little bit. And the only way to know that for sure is to be working on this on a regular basis to know where in the heck is the best place to keep my bars. And your goal, of course, in this exercise is to go from 0 to 12 and back and have clean, pretty tones with each pluck of the string. The other thing, of course, you're working on is thumb, index, middle, ring. And then when you come back up the fretboard, ring, middle, index, thumb. Okay. In guitar world, they call it PIMA. And you'll see that on lots and lots of sheet music. It's been pulled over a little bit into the ukulele world. We have a little bit of Italian, a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English, and we just always start trying to make it seem more complicated than it is. Kick Your Fanny Friday. Nancy made it in. Ellen says, in Cuenca, very few expatriates own the cars because the city is walkable. Bus costs are 15 cents and taxis are generally less than $2. Our bus, I heard, I haven't taken a bus in years, but I believe it's $3 to ride the bus downtown, and you can walk to downtown from here. And I think about people who have to take that bus every single day that, by the end of the month, you have a substantial, I have $100 investment just into the bus. And so the United States has not followed suit with having adequate support for our bus system. And like right now, of course, with the pandemic, the bus company here is in terrible shape, and they're it's going to be a while before owning a car in Colorado is not necessary. And I live downtown, right, so I can walk to most places, but still we're not caught up with Cuenca yet, for sure. All right, let me make sure that I got this about high enough for you. Okay, all right, so here we go from the top. Start with your 0. Remember, thumb, index, middle, ring. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, oh. 1, 2. 5. 10. 'Now change your pattern. 'Kay. So I had a dead note right there as I was coming out to the last one. That should, again, send you the message that, hey, when you have to make a B flat and you're on your first fret, this is the hardest fret by far to hold down a decent bar. I was also messing up a little bit down here in 10, 11, and 12 because we typically don't play down there. And so I'm getting down there as things are getting a little tight and a little squishy, and I'm starting to get in a little bit of a panic. And so my right hand doesn't move quite as smoothly. So that Make a Better Bar worksheet is actually a really valuable tool just to help you feel like you're getting better all of the time and solving one problem that most ukulele players struggle with. So along with the etudes, let's go ahead and do the key of F arpeggiator first. Let's go ahead and knock that sucker out so that we can get on to the real music. So it's the key of F major, jumping flea arpeggio. Again, with the arpeggios, they are what we call etudes. They're studies. They're meant to be educational. In other words, every song in that book that I gave you, it's 30 different songs, all of the keys, all of the chords, all of the places on the fretboard, every possible right hand technique that I could possibly think of is in this book. And what you find is that in the beginning is super challenging, really complicated, but as you work your way through the book, and I would follow the suggested learning sequence on the back page, as you work your way through those first 10 keys, those are real keys that you'll play on the ukulele. They are legit and you should know them. And then if you end up playing all of those in the book, you will end up actually mastering the ukulele accidentally. You will end up being able to really run your bar chords everywhere, really do handle all sorts of interesting shapes on the left hand, and then of course be able to have full control over your right hand. And that's an important thing for your final end run mastery. One of the things you'll notice, I don't wear a strap and I fight my ukulele like crazy. Hopefully you have figured out, get a button on the bottom of your ukulele, wear a strap. It's going to make your life much easier as we do this more complicated stuff. If you're just singing and strumming, you don't necessarily need to do that. But if you're playing this high level complicated music, you probably are going to make your life a whole lot easier by putting a strap on. So, okay, here we go. Key of F major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. Four. 2, 3, 4. that's a tough piece of music. That's hopefully kicking your fanny just a little bit. And hopefully you're not overly judging yourself on whether or not you are awesome at that, right? Nobody's that awesome at that. I made plenty of mistakes in this, and so we're not judging our character as a human being on whether that went well or not. What we're really judging is whether you know what you're supposed to do, if you're sort of able to keep up, if you're getting close with it. But this is a piece, I've been playing this for many, many years. I'm still making mistakes on it. Your goal obviously is to get it perfect, but who knows, right? And so don't just know that's a pretty tough piece of music. Q says, restate the purpose of arpeggio exercise again. So with arpeggios, what we're working on several things. And as you guys know, I wrote that book with all 30 keys in there. Bach only wrote in 24 keys. So I'm 6 better than Bach. And of course, that's a joke, right? The purpose of this, when we start in ukulele, we always say, all right, here's a C chord, here's a song, 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. And unfortunately, with way too many ukulele teachers, ukulele students, ukulele players, the whole gamut, this ends up sort of being where they get stuck, is some chords and some strumming, which is fine. It's fine to get started there. But when you get to this idea that I want to be in charge, I want to master this instrument, and I want to play it, not only be able to play with my mouth singing the song, but I also want to play it without singing anything, where I just let the ukulele do all of the singing. When you reach that point where you're like, you know what, I need to stop messing around with this thing, I want to get good at it, then you have to move on to this much more complicated activity that I teach here about how do you know all of your chords up and down the fretboard. And all of us, when in ukulele world, we know that's a C, right? But then you hang out with me, and all of a sudden you find out this is a C, okay? And then you find out there's a C down here, and then you find out this is a C, and so you start finding all these other C's, and there's plenty more on here, by the way. The thought is, hey, I want to know as much of that. I want to understand how this fretboard works. That's part of the reason for these arpeggios, is you're going to get good knowing where all this other stuff is. In this song alone, you have a D minor here, and you also have a D minor up here. Okay. In this song, you have a C7 here. You have a C chord here. Okay, so those are related, and they're not the same. You have this C chord, then this C chord. Those are both C chords, quite different sounding, and they're both serving the same function. And so even in this one piece, you have a couple of examples of more than one way to do the same chord. More importantly than that, because every player will eventually get where they're fairly competent on the fretboard, where we work at as in classical guitar, in advanced ukulele, in banjo, in all these fretted instruments. What will separate you as a really talented player versus one who's just getting by is what your right hand does. And so many players on guitar especially will grab a pick, and that's all they ever do. And then you can only do either ups or downs. That's what you can do with a pick. Now, there are many pick players who are awesome at that. But when you get to the advanced level of guitar, jazz, classical, fingerstyle, these more advanced styles of musical play, you're going to need to use all 4 fingers. And that's where arpeggio playing comes in, is that now you can play this, 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 you can play. So you end up being able to play in lots and lots of different ways the same exact thing. And that's what arpeggio playing does, is it really gets this hand doing as many possible things as it can, so that you end up sounding much fancier. If I say 3 blind mice, it's fine. But if I say 3 blind mice, I sound far more sophisticated just by that one little example, right? And I haven't changed anything over here, but I've done a lot smarter stuff with this hand over here. So that's sort of the idea behind arpeggios, is that it's going to take you from being a good player to being a great player. And that's what we want. That's what obviously all of our goal is just to get where we're really, really at playing at the top of our level. And that means understanding both left and right hands. Okay, kind of a long conversation there, but it is important that you understand that I think arpeggios are the keys to you mastering this instrument. And until you can play effective arpeggios, all of these in here, until you're pretty competent at these, you're probably still got more to go before you're really in charge of the instrument. Hey, Danny, welcome in. The G arpeggios are great, but when we're actually... So Danny's question is, hey, we've got these arpeggios, and they're lovely. He adds very, 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 very appreciatively. But wouldn't actually learning the notes at the same time be better? So this comes up from time to time. I am not at all against standard notation, and you see on every single piece of sheet music I ever hand out to you, the standard notation is there. So as you're looking at key of F major, the melody line, the top line, it shows you your chords, shows you your notes, it shows you all of that stuff. The problem with standard notation is that it complicates what you're going to be playing. In one important respect, it does not have the ability to tell you which notes on this fretboard you should be holding down at any given time. It tells you what the chord is, and then you're left with your history and best decision making on there. Tablature, on the other hand, tells you exactly what to do with your hand. And tablature's weakness is it just doesn't tell you how long to hold the notes. So both systems have strengths and weaknesses. The question comes up, well, shouldn't I just play the standard notation and I'd be fine? No, you wouldn't be. That's the problem. The standard notation for this chord and this chord are identical. In standard notation, those look identical on the paper. They're quite different chords. What you would use them for is quite different at given any point. The tonality of this and this are noticeably different, but on paper they're identical, and that's where tablature has a huge advantage on this instrument. Now, if you are going to college in classical guitar, you have to be able to read standard notation, and they poo-poo tablature because they are stuck in the 60s when creating tablature was extra work. That's where classical guitar is. It lives in a silo. It is not something we should emulate in that regard. We want to play it with beauty and subtlety and consciousness that they play on classical guitar, but we don't want to do their system. It just is not an efficient, it's a very old-fashioned, very wrong way of thinking about what sheet music is really for. What sheet music is for is to give you super complex, high-level music, and for you to get it into your noggin as quickly and easily as possible so that you can then get rid of the sheet music. Our goal is to get you, the purpose of sheet music is to get you where you don't need the sheet music anymore, and the faster and easier you can get it into your head, the better. So as all of you guys know, I'm a huge advocate for tablature. I am right on this. The 17th century was really, really the golden era of fretted instrument education. And what's happened since then is that the standard musical industry has allowed guitar to join them, but they said, well, if you're joining us, you have to use real sheet music. And so the use of tablature was not encouraged. In fact, it's made fun of. And I would say you, as a ukulele player, should not buy into that false narrative. What you really should be doing is taking and learning both systems. Both systems have their advantages and disadvantages. I will tell you, You do not need to know how to read standard notation to play ukulele. You don't. It's super helpful. It's something that I find when I'm doing an arrangement, I usually work in standard notation. Then I bring it down into the tablature, and then I finish up my work on tablature. So I end up using both when I'm putting arrangements together. But you as a player, there's no reason necessarily that you need to use the standard notation at all if you've got tablature and you understand what's going on in the song. So long conversation about that. Do I discourage you from learning standard notation? No, it's super helpful. Do you need to do it? No, you do not need to do it at all. And you do have to be able to be a competent tab reader to be good at this. And the nice part is it takes about 30 minutes for me to teach you how to read tablature. It takes me at least 2 years to teach you how to read standard notation. So, what are you going to spend your time doing? Learning notes or playing? That's my attitude on that. All right, there. Danny says, I'm more concerned about knowing the notes you are plucking on the fretboard. Yeah, again, we have software for that. So if I pluck this note, I'm not 100% sure right off the bat what note that is. I can figure it out. All right, so I'm on the F string. I'm on the E string. Sorry, F is here, G is here, A is here. That's a B note. Okay, B. Okay, I now can name that sound. It's a B. Or I could play a 7 on the second string. Okay, so yeah, I can name that note B. I can figure it out, but do I know it automatically? I don't need to. I don't really need to. It's not something that I necessarily need to do. And so a lot of people feel very strongly the opposite way, like, hey, I really need to be able to name all of the sounds that I'm making. And I just don't feel like that. I feel like as long as you know, hey, in this song, that's the note that I need to play. That note also, oddly enough, shows up right here. Okay, it sounds quite different, doesn't it? Same note sound, but the timbre of it is very different. So again, I do think reading standard notation is a worthy goal. I am just telling you from my experience, 20 years of playing this instrument, I can read standard notation just fine. I just don't need to because I have tablature. All right, long discussion. And you don't have to buy into my philosophy on that at all. Lots and lots and the entire classical music, classical guitar industry does not buy into that argument. The difference is classical guitar lives in a little world all on its own. They let them be in the classical music school, but they keep them in a separate building. Okay, they're not sure what to do with guitar, honestly, because they're afraid somehow that it leads to Eddie Van Halen, and they're not sure that they want that. All right, there, boy, I just dumped my whole attitude about standard notation on the table there. Let's play our final three songs, three songs, right? Let's play Daisy Bell. Let's get that knocked out. Daisy Bell, Daisy Bell, Daisy Bell. Where are you? There you are. Daisy Bell. Now, guys, for those of you getting ready to graduate, which is all of you, this is the level of song that makes sense for intro. So hopefully this song here is something that you're that you're playing okay. If you play this song okay, I would say, yeah, heck yeah, you're in exactly where I want to leave you. The next two songs we have to play are much more difficult. So don't judge yourself on the next two songs. Judge yourself on this one. How's things going for you? Okay. I'm going to play the tough uke. Ideally, you would play the tough uke. If you're not playing tough uke, you're playing the melody, right? And then, of course, when you decide to sit at home and sing and have fun, right, you want to strum and sing and do all that. But in this class, anyway, we want to knock out the ukulele, tough uke if you can. From the top, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Did it go well? Does that feel comfy? You got a general sense, even if you weren't able to play it at my speed, did you know what you were supposed to do? Okay, and it's perfectly fine if this felt a little fast at home. Play much slower. You're supposed to be playing much slower in practice, make sure everything is going to go smoothly. And then when you get here and you're playing up against me, you can kind of have a debate about with yourself. Hey, I'm playing about his speed, no problem. I can't keep up at all quite yet, but I will. And so there's that. All right, last two pieces we need to play. We got it. Let's go play Aloha Oi. Da, 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 da. Aloha Oi. Aloha A. Oi. Oi. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Let's do that. All right, grab your A chords. Let's get started. Go. This is a piece that's very, very slow. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? It's kind of a hard song to play. And if you're not playing it that well, that would make sense, right? This is definitely a stretch piece. Really, really beautiful. Just very different from anything else we play. That Hawaiian music really does come from a different tradition, and it sounds so beautiful. Doesn't always work on a ukulele, but this one does. This is just really nice the way that lays out. So, all right, final song of our Kick Your Fanny Friday. Still love saying that. Scarborough Fair. Scarborough Fair. Where are you? There you are. All right, the last stretch piece, right? We worked on this yesterday. This is definitely a tough tune, and but I think take it slow, like we do. No reason not to play slow, and we'll see what you can come up with. Remember, you got some tens in here, right? So find your tens. And then the other tough moment in there, measure 11, bar on 5, F shape in front, pinky on 8. So that's going to be there. All right, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. top. Three, four. All you have to do is hit that very last chord, and then you are officially a graduate. 10, 10, 10, 0 on the top. There you go. By the way, when you're up in the tens, when you're up on those frets, the quality of your ukulele starts to play a role, right? It's not common for very inexpensive ukuleles to sound particularly good way up there. And so, if you have made it through to this point and things are going pretty well for you and you're on $100 ukulele, probably time to start putting $5 in the jar every time you practice and be thinking about upgrading just a little bit. $100 ukuleles are okay. I sell lots and lots of them, and I believe in them if you get the right ones and you set them up properly and get the strings changed and all that. They're very, 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 very effective instruments to have. But to get to where you're really playing really fine, you're probably going to need a ukulele in the, let's say 250 and up range to really get the best sound out of that you're working on. Mission accomplished. Kicked my Fanny. So Bridget, that is either really good or really bad, right? I'll be repeating intro. It's so funny. Have a wonderful weekend. It's nice to graduate. Does tenor sound better than concert? Usually. I you grab two identical ukuleles, except one is tenor and one is concert. The tenor should probably sound a tiny bit better just because it's got a bigger sound box and it'll have a little bit more oomph behind it. So typically tenor sounds a tiny bit better than concert. Yeah, presuming all the other things are equal. I have a concert in there that's incredible, but I paid a lot of money for it, right? So yeah, so there's that. Q, again, what are you doing when you hit 10? What are you doing when you hit the 10 on measure 10? Well, all I'm doing, I'm taking these three fingers, laying them all on, leaving the top string open, and then 10, 10, 10, okay? And then that's what I'm doing there, okay? And when I see a 10 show up on this song, I'm automatically covering all three because there's a point like measure 9 where you hit the 10, and then you hit it again, okay? And so I'm just... When I see the 10s coming up, I'm covering all three of them, so just in case I need to, and that's what I'm doing there. Okay, now guys, let's take very, very quick stock. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we don't judge our overall performance on the final exam, right? What we do, with the questions I have for you are: can you tune your ukulele effectively? Can you hold your ukulele effectively? Can you read tablature? Are you reading the melody line and that's making sense to you? Most of the chords we work on, can you go through each song and just hold the chords and strum and sing that sucker? The Scarborough Fair is fairly complicated. You got a G minor, B flat, and so there's plenty in there to keep you guessing. But don't judge your whole entire position in life based on how you played today. These are the tough ones. These are all stretch pieces. These are all ugh. So just know that. Also notice, starting next week, we will have 2 songs each day. We will have the regular intro song. So we start with Frere Jacques again on Monday, and then we'll also have one of the book 2 songs off of the website added in. So we won't study the book 2 song particularly in depth, but you'll be there to have an opportunity to play through it with me. And that, I think, is the most important part of showing up, is that you get a chance to play with somebody else. And that, more than anything else, will push your skill set along, because when we're at home playing by ourselves, and this is where most people fail, is that you aren't playing with anybody, and pretty soon you're playing stuff all out of crazy timing, and it's not necessarily fun anymore and all that stuff. And so if you keep showing up, what will happen is you'll just get pretty good at playing with me, which means you will be pretty good with playing with anybody, and your skill set will just be that more solid. So please, we're going to keep this time slot the same. It's just that we'll expand it a little bit to include a second song each day, and that should make those of you guys that are sort of in that netherworld between not sure if you're ready for the all hard stuff and not being sure, and being fairly sure the easy stuff's too easy for you. So it'll just help finish up your skill set. All right. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Q. I talked to Q. Nancy, I will be repeating this course. Hopefully I will be able to do it already. Yeah, because again, the big thing is, for some of you, you've been away from music since 3rd grade, right? And so you go through it once, find out what's going on, take a second time through. I absolutely believe in that. So have a wonderful day, you guys. Wonderful weekend. Be safe, do good, practice, and keep showing up. I promise those things will help you. Also, subscribe and like if you haven't done that. Those are helpful to me. Donna, I'll see you next week. Nancy, I'll see you next week. Bridget, looking forward to doing this all over again. Yeah, and plus, you'll get stronger and better looking if you do it again. So that's the other thing. Not that you're not absolutely gorgeous now. So have a great weekend, you guys. I will see all of you hopefully on Monday. Times get ever more crazy out there, and so hopefully this 45 minutes a day is a place for you to sneak off to your own little world, play some ukulele, get better at a really complicated skill, and you can forget about all the crazy in the world for just a little bit. So I'm in there for both of you. Yeah. And by the way, we have a tremendous harmonica class going. You should come to that. It is hilarious. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see all of you Monday. Oh, next class, we have another Kick Your Fanny Friday. I'm going to go get my big fanny kicked, this one. So I'll see you guys then down the road.